Thursday morning, and thank you so much for joining us on the Weather Channel. I'm Vivian Brown along with Bruce Edwards.
Good morning.
This first day of October. Thanks for joining us for Weather Center, sponsored by Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse. And we're starting off the month much more quiet. We have no tropical systems to tell you about. And actually, I know.
Golf clap.
And we are looking at much cooler air build across the country.
Yeah, really get a taste of autumn zipping across the nation. Started yesterday across the upper plains. It's now just sweeping right across the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley. Eventually even going to get into the south. That is some good news indeed. It's going to be nice and mild. A little cooler, a little seasonable. Here's the water vapor imagery, and as it cranks up, well, we can see some of that drier air, the darker shade, plunging now through the Ohio Valley. There's still a little bit of moisture here in the atmosphere, just with the head of our frontal system, but again, that's going to continue to work on out. Remnants of George, any kind of thunderstorms are moving offshore. The circulation center is still back over land, but adios, get out of here. We do have a front working its way across. That one frontal system here is bringing some rain to mainly upstate New York and northern New England, although occasionally a few heavier downpours reported and a few thunderstorms off Long Island. But by and large, this is going to whip through pretty quickly, and some pretty fair weather is coming our way. But we do see a whole lot of moisture here across New Mexico into Colorado, on into Kansas and Oklahoma, and even some heavy thunderstorms reported in Oklahoma City at this present time. Here's your current weather map. Again, the center of George with what's left of it, the remnants, and all the storms offshore. Here comes our front. A lot of wind here. I tell you, the waves, Lake Michigan's going to have some 10-foot waves on it today. Strong northerly winds with this high pressure building in are really going to pile up the waves. There are 30, 40-knot winds out on the lakes, and that's going to bring some 10-foot waves along and some beach erosion northern Indiana and southwestern Michigan, the shores of Lake Erie. But here comes the front, and with it some showers and a few embedded thunderstorms. Special marine warning is out off Long Island because of some heavier storms. I'll show you those in just a moment. Here's the radar. You can see the thunderstorms moving through up around Bangor and Old Town and over towards Caribou, and then you get back to the upstate of New York around Saranac Lake. A batch coming down through Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse, all sliding off towards the east. Northeast at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. Most of this will stay in the upstate of New York, central and northern New England. Most of the big cities, you're going to miss all this. It'll stay off to your north. So Boston, Providence, Hartford, New York City, not too bad. But you look down here, and there are a few intense thunderstorms. That's why they have the special marine warning out, because of these thunderstorms here just cruising right along parallel of the south shores of Long Island. So mariners beware. Could see some 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts out of these. There's some rain and some storms pushing over through Providence and Warwick, and some rain up towards Boston and Newton right now, the home of Mr. Mark Mancuso. It's all sliding off to the east at about 35 to 40. It's 67 in Boston, 70 New York, 69 D.C. We get behind the front. A little cooler in Erie at 59, 53 Detroit, 43 up at Sault Ste. Marie. There is some of that cooler air. Isn't in the south yet, but we see temperatures ranging from 79 in Miami. It's 81 in Brownsville, 76 Dallas, 69 in Atlanta, 76 in Charleston, 75 Jacksonville. Once again, the remnants of George, mainly offshore, although Savannah, Georgia, towards Valdosta, still some rain and a few thunderstorms popping here. And then with our front, once you get back towards Oklahoma City, that's when we find some other thunderstorms occurring this morning. Here's the radar showing, well, wet weather around Raleigh-Durham and the coastal plain of North Carolina, dropping on down to Savannah, Georgia. As I mentioned, there's reports of rain there, but most of the heavy weather is offshore finally, and at long last. This moisture is heading off to the east-northeast at about 35 miles an hour. Charleston, Hilton Head, Savannah, some showers. Over towards the Golden Isles of Georgia, a little bit of rain, and you see this band of thunderstorms here rumbling through central Florida, a little bowing here effect. And again, a few of these storms could get a little ugly, wake a few people up this morning, and still coming through Lake City. We have a line of showers down towards the bay. Everything's heading off towards the east. Now, in Oklahoma City, some heavy thunderstorms being reported here as we speak this hour, continuing to show a very slow movement, as a matter of fact. So some heavy rain, some big puddles for your commute this morning as these systems continue to slowly drift on to the east. Other thunderstorms near Amarillo, and these are lifting on off towards the north, heading up towards liberal Kansas. We look to the north, and there's your big, cool, high-pressure system. Windy and chilly in the lakes today, so buckle it up. Windbreaker day, that is for certain. With this system coming through, it's going to be a cool one. Look at the numbers. 49 of the cool air in Chicago, 32 International Falls, 29 in Bismarck, 34 in Minot right now, and Sioux Falls at 34, 36 Marquette. Hasn't gotten quite to the best location of the nation, Cleveland, Ohio, yet 59. Same story in St. Louis, but it's definitely a jacket weather type of day today, and hold on to your hats. Nice through the Rockies by and large, not looking too bad here. Southwest is looking comfortable, LA at 61. We have a little upsloping wet weather here into Colorado, and at times it's heavy around Pueblo and down towards Roswell, New Mexico. Reporting some heavier downpours here during the last hour, on up to Las Vegas and over to Clayton. These are all generally lifting off towards the north. There's your big picture. It's all in one piece. Now, for your first day of October, Viv checks out the forecast.
Okay, the top story as we go through the day will be the cool down. Cooler air certainly in place. Look at the 24-hour temperature change and notice that we certainly have cooler air than the same time yesterday morning. It's 21 degrees colder this morning in Bismarck, North Dakota, 18 degrees colder in Des Moines, Iowa. So definitely cooler air in place. And look at the forecast highs. We are only expecting 50s over the central Great Lakes, including Minneapolis, Milwaukee, over to Detroit, Chicago. You should only get up to about 59 degrees today. 60s spreading southward across Kansas. We will find the 90s, though. They'll still be in place here from New Orleans, Jackson, Mississippi, over to Houston, and 90s in the deserts of the Southwest. But as high pressure moves in, that brings us the cooler Canadian air by the midday hour for sure. Now, this high pressure will also be responsible for showers along the front range of the Rockies. We'll find the clockwise flow around it, upsloping conditions, easterly winds hitting up against the mountains, forcing the air to rise. It reaches a certain level, condensation occurs. We've had some showers this morning, and we anticipate a raw day, maybe around the Denver area over to Goodland, Kansas. At the same time, this surface front will swing toward the Pacific Northwest. A few showers around Seattle and Portland, low clouds, and a few showers expected across northern New England too, kind of lake effect rain showers across this region. Precipitation forecast like this, heaviest amounts, again the front range of the Rockies as we have the upsloping winds creating the showers throughout the area as we go through the day.
Well, it's National Cookie Month, and it's National Communicate with Your Kid Month. They go hand in hand. Give them a cookie, communicate. We'll communicate travel trouble spots for you next.
This program was sponsored by Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse. When it comes to home improvement, Lowe's knows.
Every day, more people are choosing Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse, like Chipper Jones. I'm a wood expert, and top choice.
Top of the morning, everyone. It's half past the hour. It is the first day of October. Thursday morning, October 5th.
Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on the Weather Channel. 10 minutes before the hour, you've tuned in just in time for Storm Watch, sponsored by Lowe's. Of course, a part of Storm Watch is the tropical update. So let's start with the tropics and see what's going on. You know, our top story the last couple of weeks has been George. So we'll start off with George and let you know what's going on. Notice the clear skies that we have this morning across a good part of the southeast as George is no longer. We have clear skies in Pensacola here this morning, around Mobile, Alabama, Biloxi, Mississippi, back to New Orleans. The sun returns today in New Orleans and across a good part of the southeast. Now we have noticed a little low-level circulation right here, a nebulous area of low pressure in southern Georgia, the panhandle of Florida, but the bulk of the higher clouds and the rain showers are basically east of that low pressure system. So that's a true indication that this system is on the wane. We do have a few showers scattered here near the Savannah River Valley and a narrow band of showers across the central peninsula of Florida. And we've had some showers near the coastal plains of the Carolinas. Closer inspection shows this narrow band here now from Jacksonville down off the coast and from Tampa northward near Daytona Beach, just a narrow band of lighter showers here. Farther north, we find a little more in the way of shower activity, but not necessarily touching the ground here in Raleigh and Durham. We have had reports, though, of the rain, say, from Elizabeth City, North Carolina, down toward the Wilmington area, as the bulk, again, of the showers are mainly east of this little area of low pressure. This is all that's left from George. So good riddance to George as we have to deal with this system no longer. The Gulf of Mexico, it is quiet this morning. Look at all the clear skies we have on the satellite picture. The Bay of Campeche, void of any tropical development. The Caribbean is pretty quiet too. We have noticed the flare-up, some thunder shower activity just off the coast here, Honduras and Nicaragua, but not an organized tropical system at all. And even as we span out into the central Atlantic, notice all the fair conditions. Now just south near the intertropical convergence zone, we've had a couple of tropical waves here, but neither is too impressive at this hour. We'll continue to watch these areas, though, because if they manage to stay a little organized and move into the Gulf of Mexico, then it will be of concern. But right now we've noticed upper air winds out of the west over these tropical waves, and that's pretty much inhibiting any development. Remember Jean? Well, here's what's left of Jean as it continues to move east, northeast. The final advisory was given last night at 11 o'clock, so we will not be covering this system anymore because it is moving away and weakening rapidly. Now, it could bring some squally weather to Spain and Portugal. Here is Jean here, spiraling across the northeastern Atlantic, so over the next couple of days we could find some showers near Spain and Portugal. But other than that, it's pretty quiet. Look at the African continent. Of course, this is where we look for tropical waves coming off of the coast as they start their progress across the open waters of the Atlantic. Again, this is a vantage point of the intertropical convergence zone, and we've had one little wave starting to come off of the West African coast, so we'll continue to watch this. But for now, it is very quiet across the Atlantic basin. What about the Pacific basin? Well, all's quiet for the most part in this area too. We have noticed the cluster of storms off the coast of Mexico. We'll continue to watch this area. Nothing too organized at the moment, nothing too impressive either. Over the western Pacific, please excuse this bad frame here. I'll take that out in a moment. But we are watching what's left of Yanni as it moves between Korea and Japan here. It'll continue to move northward and dissipate. There is another system we are watching close to Vietnam. Right now it's not a depression or storm or anything, but it bears watching, and we'll keep you posted on this system as we go through the next 24 to 48 hours. What about the lower 48? Well, we have the threat for a storm. Some could be strong to severe later today. The panhandle of Texas and near the Red River Valley. We think the severe storms will be primarily isolated, but with the clockwise flow around our huge area of high pressure over the Great Lakes, we'll find easterly winds. That means the air hitting up against the mountains. The air lifts, reaches a certain level, condensation occurs, rain showers and thunderstorms possible here, but nice generally everywhere else.
Flooded homes are left in Georgia's wake, and now coastal residents begin cleaning up. A bird's eye view of the damage and the latest forecast next on Weather Center.
This program was sponsored by Walls, leading the way outdoors.
If you work outside for a living, you should know Walls makes clothes to fit any job.
The time to change your life is now. Operators are standing by, so call now to receive your free Stairmaster video and information kit, including details on our low monthly payment plan. 1-800-490-3322. That's 1-800-490-3322.
In this half hour, Weather Center AM with the national forecast, then Travel-Wise, the weekend outlook, and Storm Watch with the tropical update. Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
The South holds on to its summertime heat. It also holds on to high waters left by Hurricane George, but the levels are starting to go down in some places. Good morning. Welcome to Weather Center. I'm Marshall Cease.
And I'm Will Lannon. High pressure following a cold front makes for comfortable but cool conditions across the northern half of the country. I'll show you what's going on right now. That strong cold front, by the way, is moving through New England at the present time. All morning long, we've seen some scattered showers. Looks like another developing shower right around Boston, Mass. Could be another sprinkle around New York City, but the bulk of the action again, central and northern New England during this morning, and even that is going to begin to dry up for the most part during this afternoon. Still a few more instability showers will be found, but the big deal here today is going to be brisk west and northwesterly winds, already gusting anywhere between 30 and 40 miles an hour from parts of Michigan, the Ohio Valley, Indiana, Ohio, and getting over towards much of New York State and New England right now with that front beginning to press on through. Take a look at the winds, and we also have some gale warnings out right now from Watch Hill, Rhode Island, getting all the way up towards Eastport, Maine. So once again, boaters beware, some choppy waters here through later on. And travelers, again, you'll be looking at some bumpy weather as well. Going to be looking at some brisk west-northwesterly winds, probably not beginning to really diminish until after sunset this evening. So again, we're going to be looking at temperatures beginning to fall, and once again, you'll be looking at the winds increasing now over much of the region as the front begins to pull on through during the rest of this afternoon. The temperatures behind the front, 40s, 50s, and 60s, but ahead of the front, not bad as of yet. 71 degrees in Boston and 74 degrees in New York City. But New York, this is how you look this morning. Once again, you saw some partly cloudy conditions after a couple of morning brief showers. Traffic again is chugging along under partly sunny skies. It's breezy, but so far, wait until the cold front goes through this afternoon. The winds will become brisk. The temperatures in the 70s this morning will fall into the 60s this afternoon and into the 40s. Yes, the 40s by early morning tomorrow. So fall definitely is underway now. If you take a look at the northeastern part of the country, temperature-wise. Here's a look at the Midwest this morning. A lot of blue in the weather map and a lot of freezing temperatures as well across North Dakota and northwestern Minnesota. Minot still at 28 degrees. Wind chills were in the teens and lower 20s. And you can see now the brisk northwesterly winds beginning to work their way on towards the east. Now, as high pressure moves right over Minnesota and Wisconsin tonight, the winds will become very, very light and variable, which means a good chance of more frosty conditions from central and northern Wisconsin into northeastern Minnesota by sunrise tomorrow morning. Now, if we're looking at what's happening in the south and west, we go to Marshall Cease.
Thanks, Will. One positive result of Hurricane George is its deadly effect on mosquitoes in parts of southern Louisiana. Officials in coastal parishes say military planes that spray pesticides are no longer needed. It appears George's north wind forced the mosquitoes to take cover in dense vegetation, and the hot, dry weather after George then came in and killed many of the insects. On the flip side, where George has brought heavy rainfall, the mosquito problem could become very bad. An aerial view of Florida's Panhandle finds many homes and businesses underwater. Hundreds of people were forced from their homes as local rivers soared to record levels and sent high water downstream. Hydrologists say the tide is turning and rivers should now start receding. We'll hear from a river forecast expert at 11:30. Meanwhile, the forecast is for no more rain. That's over with. A lot of sunshine. But with all of that water in place, ground saturated, it's going to feel real steamy. 94 at New Orleans, and further east you head, we'll still be in the low 90s out here as the sun begins to peek through as George takes the clouds with it out to sea. Temperature right now in Atlanta is 72, 77 in Jacksonville. Panama City's at 73, New Orleans already up to 81 degrees. Out in Dallas and Houston, it's going to be a hot one today too, south of that front. This is what's left of George. That'll quickly move off the coast. This trough will linger about the afternoon as it's dragged across the state of Florida and will increase the potential for showers this afternoon. Showers occurring right now around Ocala, Florida, and that will slide to the east, but as you can see, that's decreasing now in aerial coverage. Good news. But later this afternoon, as conditions destabilize, we'll see some more thunderstorms. They'll be a little more scattered, however. Oklahoma to western Kansas, eastern Colorado, and eastern New Mexico, getting some pretty heavy rain this morning. Some of this rain has been particularly heavy in the upslope regions of some of the mountains out here. As the front is draped across the region, we're getting an easterly flow here, and upsloping conditions can cause very heavy amounts of rain. Now in the Pacific Northwest, we have a front that's going to be moving onshore, and that's going to bring in some pretty cold air. So in the Cascades, we may get some snow above 6,000 or 7,000 feet as it moves onshore later tonight, and then it will move into the northern plains over time. This is cold air as well. This high pressure and Canadian air that swept southward this morning, it brought temperatures down to the 30s and 20s in some places. Cutbank is 34 degrees right now. Williston's just 39. Lander, Wyoming, 42. Denver's just 48 degrees. Later this afternoon, do expect some rain showers to move in, probably this evening in Seattle as that system begins to head to the east. Down the southwest, looking pretty good. A lot of clouds hanging in, though, along the coast where temperatures will be in the low 70s. And now for the forecast, here's Will.
Okay, Marshall, once again this afternoon, slowly diminishing winds will mean improving conditions along the Lake Michigan shoreline near Indiana, where waves this morning were close to 9 feet, causing some beach erosion there. Same thing again over much of northern upper Michigan, all the way from, I'll say anywhere from Marquette to around Whitefish Point. Things will be improving here as well. But the winds increasing throughout the northeastern part of the country. That means a big, big cool down by early morning tomorrow. And again, the winds banking up against the Rockies and western plains. Upsloping conditions will mean another rainy afternoon for Denver and Lyman, down towards Albuquerque, New Mexico. Here comes early morning tomorrow. High pressure still in control. The temperature early morning this morning, right around Hayward, Wisconsin, 26 degrees. It was 21 degrees at Minot. It looks like just as chilly weather tomorrow morning in parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin, maybe parts of lower Michigan as well. So again, we'll be looking at some frosty weather there. There's your chance of looking at the heavier rainfall, and take a look at the temps today. Tonight, they really fall off. They're going to begin to bottom off shortly after sunset this evening, with those light and variable winds down into the 20s and 30s. 30s all the way from parts of New England. We'll take it all the way from Albany to Erie and Pittsburgh, Chicago, and Minneapolis, St. Paul, close to the upper 20s by morning.
Going to have to close the windows and turn the furnace on. Still ahead, will rain or wind affect how you get around today?
We'll check it all out coming up next on Travel Wise. Stay with us.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here at the Weather Channel. You've tuned in for Storm Watch. We'll give you a full tropical briefing, also identify where you may expect severe weather today. I'm Marshall Cease. Storm Watch is a segment that has been very long and tiring over the last couple of weeks, as folks down near the Gulf Coast know, and it's tiring for them still, even though George is out of the picture. President Clinton declared portions of the Gulf Coast around Alabama a disaster area yesterday, which will help folks find funding to rebuild. Also, understand that the Keys will not be open until October 9th to tourists. Still, power has not been restored for some of the historic district, and drinking water is still a problem. We still have brush-lined streets in the area. Also, tidal surges from Hurricane George have wiped out the Round Island Lighthouse that has been sitting for 140 years, since 1859. That's on one of the barrier islands out near Pascagoula, Mississippi. Let's take a look at your update now with the tropics in the southeast. George has moved off the coast, and in its wake, some clearing skies over in Alabama and Mississippi. But George is still drawing a little area of showers across Florida because a front, or not a front, but a trough, is draped just to the south of what used to be the center of circulation, now a surface low headed out to sea. On its heels, a prefrontal trough ahead of this cold front that's going to bring some drying, cooler air, and perhaps also help folks along the Gulf Coast dry their homes out. We understand some of these rivers are receding at record high levels, though. We've been speaking with the John Felt, who's with the Southeastern River Center, giving us an idea of when these rivers will recede. Still some pooling of water on some of the highways, so you want to make sure you factor that into your travel plans in the southeast today. So we've got diminishing rain showers here. We can expect some more later this afternoon to develop because of that trough draped across the state. A little bit of rain in Ocala right now, headed toward Daytona Beach, but it is very light. There's not a lot going on out here in the Gulf of Mexico, nor is there in the Western Caribbean. And in the Eastern Caribbean, we're in pretty good shape as well. Just some clouds out around the Honduras, about ready to make it across Central America. And the notable feature out here in the mid-Atlantic is a shearing environment getting set up again, which is a hostile environment for tropical storm formation. As waves move to the east, the convection, the showers and thunderstorms that develop, as they begin to tower, the upper-level winds blow the tops off, and they can't get their act together. And that's good news for we in the lower 48 states and in the Caribbean. Could still see some showers in the Windward Islands here to the south and the Lesser Antilles with a wave that's moving across the region, but tropical storm formation is unlikely. Tropical storm formation in the near future is unlikely here as well, but as this disturbance moves off the coast of Africa, it does bear monitoring. Remember Jean? This is what's left of Jean, the remnants of Jean. Jean was a tropical depression last night at about 11 o'clock Atlantic Standard Time, and that's when the Tropical Prediction Center gave its final advisory, and that included winds about 35 miles per hour, moving east-northeast at about 14 miles per hour. So Gene, now a thing of the past also, and all quiet on the Atlantic front. Out in the Pacific, though, in the eastern Pacific, we're watching this disturbance. That has a chance for development, and we're going to be monitoring that situation for you. Meanwhile, Yanni is history, moving back out into the Pacific after making landfall yesterday morning in South Korea, and just a lot of scattered disorganized showers and storms near Vietnam. So that's it for the tropics. Now, you can expect the possibility of severe weather today in Texas and in eastern New Mexico. Had lots of rain showers here, and we expect some of those thunderstorms to drop heavy amounts of rain. It's been raining much of the morning, rained much of the evening. We're in an upslope region here with easterly winds, and it's taking some very moist air because of a southwesterly flow of moist air out of the Pacific feeding it, and it's lifting it in the mountains. So the rain could be incessant all day long today, and it'll be gradually moving northward through Kansas and into the panhandle of Nebraska at the tail end of this front. Now, early this evening, we expect it to be pretty widespread and even extend into eastern Wyoming. Tomorrow morning, some of that rain will be affecting Rapid City in southwest South Dakota. And then a new weather system will have moved in to the Pacific Northwest. That could bring some snow levels down the Cascades to about 7,000 feet.
Clouds in the northeast signal a coming cold front. Plus, we're tracking chances for thunderstorms in the southern plains. When and where?